So, welcome back to the second half of our earlier podcast, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of 2025. In the first part, episode 28, we managed to get through the good stuff. And, we hope you enjoyed that. But I think it's fair to say that most of you are probably tuning in for the bad and the ugly part of our review of 2025 because you might get the odd rant. You might get someone like Dom going from 0 to 60 in no time if I drop some little bombs for him. But let's see how that pans out. The good was great, lifted the heart of football fans everywhere, we think, and gave you some food for thought about, what is still worth getting out of bed for as a football fan and getting behind and enjoying. But the bad and the ugly is part of what's happened in 2025 that we would put in that category. And without further ado, we are going to discuss that with my mate Dom, still wearing the same clothes. So we don't need to talk about that because it's all part of the same recording time, isn't it, mate? So
Yeah,
you're still looking like an intellectual journalist, apparently.
thank you.
Um,
Thank you
yeah,
very much.
I don't know whether you are, but we'll go with that anyway, mate. We'll go with that. So.
Well, Mia called me a pretentious fashion designer. I was like, thanks very much, Mia. I won't wear this polo neck again. But yeah,
Yeah, I'll be
yeah,
honest. You look like an architect. You need to drive a Saab,
content.
but other
Yeah,
than that,
yeah.
yeah, there you go. There you
Thank
go.
you.
Right.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's crack on with the bad. And I've got a list of things that we like to say,
Oh,
and then the ugly. The
good.
ugly is the funny stuff, right? So he's something that's bad. A stat that came out the other day that I saw, and it's thanks to my nephew actually, Matthew Bramley. For this stat he shared with me a little article, and I appreciate Matthew's a fan of the pod, which is good. It's not just because he's a family member, hopefully, but he's enjoying it as a football fan as well. It's been over 600 days since Oxford United had a penalty. 600 days plus. That's May 2024. How do you go 600 plus days without getting a penalty? And those who were rude might say because they never get in the box. I don't know if that's the case, but that's a long time, isn't it, to not get a penalty in top flight football?
That's a very
Like top, not when I say top flight, the
I
top
know what you
four
mean.
divisions of
Yeah,
football. Yeah.
yeah. That's a great stat. I mean, surely they must have had some penalty shouts in that time as well. So then it comes down to playing devil's advocate, did they warrant a penalty? I'm sure the odd one must have done. I mean, in that at the time, that's a lot of football, isn't it? A lot of football.
You play the odds. I'll tell you what, it might bring us on to the ugly. The quality of championship refereeing so shit that probably at least five of their shouts will have been penalties that would have been given by some blind pew of a referee and a really lines person who can't make a decision. But we'll come on to that as a separate issue. But if you're an Oxford United fan, let us know what you think about, do you ever think you're going to get a penalty again? Do you, every time a player goes down in the box, you just shrug your shoulders and say, never going to happen? We've got a situation at Middlesbrough where Tommy Conway goes down like a French tart, to be fair. Anytime anyone touches him from within 3 feet, he'll fall over rather than stay on his feet. And he's had 5 or 6 penalty shouts on his own this season without anyone getting, given as a penalty. The referee just immediately just do that. So whether he's got a reputation, I don't know. But 600 plus days, that's a hell of a lot of games where you've just not even had a sniff of getting a penalty. And here's the other thing: when you do eventually get one, which you will, where's the pressure on the guy taking that? It's like, wow, we haven't had one for like 2 years, and it's our first penalty. Who's going to take it? What's the pressure? And what if he misses?
Well, it opens up another interesting point on that one, though, mate. Is I'd love to see the stats of how many penalties each club gets. Now, what I'm going to get to is you might think I'm being biased here because I'm also an Everton fan as well as Boro's listeners will know, but we don't get that many at Everton. I mean, we don't get that many at Boro, to be honest. Let's face it. Let's
No.
be here. We don't. But at Everton, sometimes it's sometimes gone months and months, and we just don't get a penalty, particularly at home.
Mm.
Whereas you see a lot of other clubs who seem to get penalties all the time. Now, am I imagining that? Or when you look at club stats over a season, how many do they actually get? It might be worth one of those where I'm interested myself now to kind of go away and have a look and see what are the stats of each team and how many penalties do they get home and away, because that stat is so good. It's like that is an excessively long time to not have a
Mm.
penalty at all. It's over, it's a season and a half without a pen. But
I,
then,
I do recall Bristol City went somewhere like a season and a bit without a penalty some time ago, and then they got something like three penalties in 5 games.
all of
So
a sudden
whether
you
or
get
not
busted.
whether or not
Yeah,
the floodgates have been opened or
open
not,
and
I
you
don't
suddenly
know.
get
But
busted.
yeah,
But in my memory, going and when go to a lot of football, don't often see many pens at all. We get quite a few penalty shouts, and then they
yeah,
never go in our favour ever.
yeah.
Not
Okay.
even too far. So maybe it is still a really good start, but maybe it opens the question up further to say, well, how many do clubs actually get over a season, and is there some standouts where it's like, wow, so, and is that due to the start of the play? Are they warranted? You
And
know,
now
it,
they're more rare than they were 10 years ago, as an example.
yeah, yeah. So it's a good one for it's a subject in itself.
Well, here's the
Penalty.
thing. Here's the thing for you, Dom. Bit of research for you. Just give yourself some homework, mate. How's that?
I'm going to look at that because and on that small subject, I mean, I'm not going to waste too much time on it, but me and you have a bit of a thing about penalties as well, where you see a player literally get slightly nudged in the back on the edge of the 18-yard box with their back to
Yeah,
goal, not in
yeah,
anywhere near a goal scoring opportunity, and they get a pen, and it's like, really? It,
yeah.
it feels to me like the rules regarding penalties do need a bit of clarity and a bit of tidying up, because I
Mm.
do sometimes think that teams get a very unfair advantage for something that doesn't really warrant a penalty, to be
You've
honest.
also seen the inconsistencies of how VAR treat it in the Premier League as well, which
Absolutely.
thankfully is not coming into the Championship anytime soon, as far as I'm aware. But we'll hopefully, I'm touching wood while I say that. So the first bad of the year. In the calendar year of 2025, Oxford United didn't get a penalty at all, and it's been 600 plus days since May 2024.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, amazing. I've got a really another bad. It's funny. This really, it's funny. It's bad for the guy. It's funny for anybody else who's a fan of a football team. So Cameron Burgess signed for Swansea from Ipswich in the summer, and he had his summer move, and it was a bit acrimonious. And when you're playing against your former club, and and the fans are all booing you and all, giving you shit and all that kind of thing. But it was at Swansea when Ipswich played early in the season. I think it was in October, and Cameron Burgess played against his former club, who he'd signed for just in the summer. And Ipswich battered them 4-1. But the main funny part of this was Cameron Burgess scored twice for Ipswich against his own club, Swansea. Fancy scoring two own goals against your former club the first time you face them after an acrimonious transfer. That is a shocker, isn't it?
That's wow. Yeah. I mean, you're going to feel pretty low after that one, aren't you? Really, really.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's not the same, but slightly similar and funny in that I think a season and a half ago at Everton when we couldn't hit a barn door and we're struggling to score goals now. But in a game at Goodison against Wolves, Craig Dawson, I think it was, scored two own goals and he was our highest goal scorer of the season at that point of the season, which was quite funny.
yeah, and he got goal of the month, did he? For the because there's nobody else
Like,
to go.
wow, it's alarming when a player scores two own goals and he's up there on the highest goals of an opposite team. So yeah,
Yeah, good fun. I mean, it does liken itself to Jonathan Woodgate's Real Madrid debut, doesn't it? Where he scored an own goal, then got sent off, didn't he? So,
yeah,
as debuts go, that was terrible. But playing against your old club, especially when it's not been a great, it's not been a smooth transfer. It wasn't done with good grace, from what I
no,
understand. And losing 4-1, and you're responsible for two of those goals. I mean, he's had a bad day at the office as Cameron Burgess there, hasn't he?
yeah,
Here's a stat. This is astonishing, right? It was New Year's Day yesterday. We're recording this on the 2nd of January, sorry, 2026. And Birmingham lost again yesterday. They got battered yesterday, again,
yeah.
away from home. And it's 35 years since Birmingham City won a fixture on New Year's Day. What? 35 years since Birmingham City last won a fixture on New Year's Day. If you're Birmingham City, you go to Sky, don't you, and say, a New Year's Day fixture? We'd happily play that. at midnight on New Year's Eve or the 2nd of January at tea time. Please don't make us play on New Year's Day. Home and away, they've not won a fixture for 35 years. That's a shocker, isn't it?
That is a huge stat. I mean, yeah, you would become very paranoid about that, wouldn't you? I
You
mean,
would.
you would think there's a curse on you, and you absolutely would enjoy the day if you were able to play it on the 31st or the second or the third or the fourth as they're dragged out to now as well. But you
Yeah,
have to take that, wouldn't you? Just to break the hoodoo. 35 years. So in other words, the last one on New Year's Day, 1991.
yeah,
Incredible. Wow.
yeah. Shocking. So
Pre
they must have
League,
known.
to some people who think football started with the Premier League, that's like before the dawn of time, isn't it? It's like,
It
wow.
is. Yeah, it's before football even existed in
Even
some
existed,
people's
yeah.
minds. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I've got something else going back a few weeks. Now, Celtic had a shocking start to the season, right?
Yeah.
So they brought in emergency management in Martin O'Neill, and I've always rated Martin O'Neill as a manager. He won 7 out of 8 games as Celtic manager, closed the gap on Hearts, put the pressure on them, took Celtic to within the brink of going back to the top of the Scottish Premiership. Normal service resumed, and Celtic are just going to walk away with the league in the second half of the season because Martin O'Neill's done a great job. And then you let Martin O'Neill go for some reason and get Wilfred Nonsey. I mean, unfortunate name, by the way, but Wilfred Nonsey to come in, who's got no affiliation with the club, no history or background with the club. It's a very early in his managerial career. And all that good work after 7 out of 8 wins for Martin O'Neill undone, including losing a cup final to
Yeah.
St Mirren.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are Celtic doing? Why is Martin O'Neill not still the manager at Celtic after such a good
Yeah.
start? Whether he didn't want it, I don't know, but I suspect he probably would have done a season for them.
Well, I was just going to make this point. I was going to say, any Celtic fans out there, or anyone who knows better than us, I did read up on this, and I don't. My impression was, I think he would have been happy to have carried on to the end of the season, but
Mm,
he was very much positioned. It absolutely is interim until we get someone else. But I got the impression with him and who he was working with that he would have been quite happy to continue. Maybe that's not the case, or maybe it was, Celtic had no choice, but. I think if he was interested, you'd have snapped his hand off because he's always been a great manager. And he came back in, hadn't been managing for ages, and just showed how good he is at the job.
yeah,
So, yeah, as a Celtic fan, you must be tearing your hair out thinking, why have we let this opportunity go? And no disrespect to the new manager, he might have good credentials, but you don't bring in someone from the MLS to manage any team because, yeah, I mean, the MLS is just an absolute joke. It's a farce. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's different jeopardy. It's a different league. It's a different system. It's football way above what they're used to. So,
Mm.
yeah, you just don't be going in and employing a
And,
coach from the MLS into Celtic. I mean, let's
and
face it.
expectation levels at Celtic are like globally
Yeah,
like that. MLS,
Expectations MLS are literally at the bottom because nobody cares whatsoever,
yeah,
despite all the people who keep marketing it as the next savior and everything. That's just a load of rubbish. It isn't, by the way. It's
yeah,
dying on the house.
yeah.
You just don't bring in a coach from MLS to Celtic
No,
because you instantly put him under huge pressure, massive pressure. It's a completely different environment. I don't think anyone can, and not just that, but I don't think people or coaches would. I don't think people can describe. It's not just the fact that the difference in league pressure, expectation, but Celtic and Rangers also have this ridiculous aura about them. Anyway, it's then up another notch, probably another 2 or 3 notches in terms of what their
yeah,
expectations are and what they demand. So instantly from the fans, you're going to get. They won't give you any time. If they think you're wrong, they'll just tell you in no uncertain terms. And
yeah.
unfortunately, this guy, it's the club's and the hierarchy's fault, but the fans will express it however they can. So, yeah.
This wouldn't surprise me if Nancy lasts until they play Rangers tomorrow as we record this. If they lose to Rangers at home, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nancy gets canned. and Martin O'Neill comes back. And if Martin O'Neill comes back, all bets are off for them winning the double with the Scottish FA Cup and the Premiership. And if your
Yeah,
hearts, you hope, if your hearts, particularly, you're waiting for Wilfred Nancy to just do enough to keep his job for a little longer while they can build a bit of a cushion. Because if
yeah,
Martin O'Neill comes back, that cushion might just go. So that's a really bad situation at Celtic. Good to see because it's just bad management, bad leadership, and bad ownership. Which brings me on to the next point. I've got three owners down here, all at different levels. Okay, Todd Bowley, he's just a bit of a tosser, isn't he? I mean, he does he get football?
no,
Americans don't understand football. First of all, they call it soccer. Secondly, he's like a kid in a sweet shop. He's no one's ever said no to this guy, have they? No one's ever said no. And the way he's running Chelsea is a joke. And they could argue, I mentioned on the last pod, that the club world champions that no one cares about at all. He just buys anyone and everyone that he thinks he doesn't have any clue about formations, tactics, whatever. But from what I understand behind the scenes, one of the reasons that Maresca's left, which was of yesterday, was fiddling from the board saying that, we've bought these players, you need to play them, we need to build their value, so they need to be in the shop window. They've always had a zillion players out on loan. They've seemed to have they've got the same squad size as everybody else. I know they have, but the likes of Todd Bowley don't have a clue about football. They don't have a clue about football at the highest level, and yet they're running what is potentially continuing to be a successful club. The guy's a clown when it comes to. He's not a clown when it comes to bloody business. I wouldn't mind being a pound behind him. But you can't run a football club like he's running a football club and expect anyone outside of Chelsea not to treat you with ridicule because they're an absolute joke when it comes to how they run their club, in my opinion. I think he's an absolute clown. What do you reckon?
yeah. I don't really have much respect for the guy. I think he's come in and just it feels to me like this is another billionaire who just wants a little pet project, and it's
Yeah.
another. It's again, it's oh, I'll just have a football club because that's a nice little hobby to have on the side, and then thinks he can, steamroller his way in and into team affairs and everything else. It's like, well, you can't because you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm.
Sadly, I think there's a lot of Chelsea fans out there who'll always come back to doesn't matter how we run, look how successful you are. It works for us, and it's like, yeah, okay, to a certain degree, yeah, you are successful, and things that you win over the years, and you've done it despite the fact that you sack a manager every season or every 18 months. But is
Yeah.
that really how you want your club to be? I mean, to be honest, and we are pretty neutral and we are pretty fair. I do have an immense dislike for Chelsea Football Club. I always have done.
Mm.
Very entitled, very self-important. They seem to forget that before Abramovich bought them, they were absolutely nowhere. I mean, they were on a semi-decent track when Matthew Harding, God rest his soul,
Yeah.
bought them, and they started to bring in some good players. Before that, they were absolutely nowhere. Dog shit
Mm.
ground, dog shit training ground. No one cared about them. They weren't a top six club, never would be, and they wouldn't be now if it wasn't for Abramovich and his dodgy billions. So
Yeah.
let's have that right out there. How Chelsea fans can stand there and celebrate Abramovich when he's just a crook is just beyond me. So
I know.
let's face it. So you can say all you like, Chelsea fans. The guy's a crook. He
Yeah.
didn't earn his billions in any kind of legitimate way whatsoever. And also, what's telling is, and Chelsea are falling foul of this. At the time when Abramovich was successful at Chelsea, being a billionaire did have power and clout. Now it's not. It's
Yeah.
irrelevant in football because you almost have to be that, and that's how football has evolved into something that's deeply wrong. That you need to
Mm.
be a billionaire or owned by a country. You don't. Football just needs a reset. And if Chelsea fans think that their method is successful, then it's the way forward because they keep winning trophies. Great, but it's not all about winning trophies. I mean,
No.
some fans seem to measure success by the fact that we'll look what we've won. It's like, but there's so much more to it. There's so many, us two included, who support clubs who haven't won anything in years, but we still love supporting our clubs and we love those magical moments and days and watching players. Yes, we'd love to win something, but there's more to it. Surely, as a Chelsea fan, would you not want to have someone who's a really good manager that's given time and celebrate bringing the players in and building a squad and a settled team, and rather than just ripping the rule book up and ripping the project up and starting again. Players seem to obviously want to go there. It's
Well,
like
oh, hang on.
whether it's
I want to go there for an
money,
extended,
money against things.
7 year contract that breaks the rules of PSR or whatever. But anyway, Todd Bowley, bad news in the bad column, on the naughty step. For me, he wouldn't get a Christmas present from Santa if he were doing this in the run up to Christmas. I've got Tony Stewart at Rotherham. Rotherham fans hate this guy. He's killing their club. Rotherham United consistently up and down, League One, Championship, League One, Championship, League One, Championship. Currently in the bottom four of League One, every chance of going down to League Two. The guy sort of washed his hands of the club, really. The fans are disconnected from him. He's a bit of a cheap Chansiri, if you like, in terms of his disconnect from the fan base. And, it's sad to see. I used to live in South Yorkshire, and, Rotherham, they're a hard-working, working town. The fans are down to earth. They've got a funny little Legoland stadium at the New York Stadium, etc. But it's quite a good away trip. I quite like going to Rotherham. I like the people. They're just down to earth, salt of the earth fans. They deserve better than having an owner like Tony Stewart. And the last one, which came out yesterday, is thankfully the former owner at Hartlepool United, Raj Singh, has sold up. Now, the worry I've got under the bad column is he's sold out to an American. And my view of American owners isn't great. Now, it's good news that he's not there anymore, because he'd lost his head, really. He was banning media. He was doing all sorts of like really negative stuff with regard to the players and the press. And so Raj Singh's gone, which is good news. Tony Stewart's still there. That's bad news. Todd Bowley's still there, which is bad news. But Hartlepool selling out to an American, I'd put that under advisement on the shelf to watch this space for me. Because, is it a play Is it just, are they going to have half-time cheerleaders and bloody dance troops and shit? I don't know. But
that's it. I agree with. I've said a lot. I'm nervous of American ownership. I mean, Everton are owned by Americans now, the Friedkin Group, and you know what? Watch this space is exactly right. I want to see how it pans out, because I don't think any Evertonian knows how this is going to go. But Americans in football concern me, because I don't really think they understand the community aspect of any club.
No.
For them, it's very much around what they can make in terms of money. The Friedkin Group have been quite quiet over the last year. I mean, they've restabilised the finances of the club. They've brought Moyes back. They've invested in the squad. It'd be interesting to see how it pans out long term. It's very early days. I mean, we're a year in, but it's been very early days. So I think it'll, over the next 2 or 3 years, I think you'll really see how it kicks in. But, Ryan Reynolds and Todd McElhenney are probably the exceptions in terms of how they've managed at Wrexham. They've also now sold a stake, haven't they, to different Americans, because, the higher up you go, the stakes are higher, the more money's involved, sadly. But they absolutely have done the right things by Wrexham in terms of buying the club. It's the club wholly owned by themselves now. So
as a town investment in the town and all that, though, isn't it? And that's what
really
I hope. That's what I hope for Rotherham, that they get rid of the likes of Tony Stewart, but also that Hartlepool don't go down the route of, it's just a plaything for some yank, really.
Who doesn't get it? They got it with Wrexham. I think that's, thankfully, they actually understood. But also at the time, the club were fan owned, so they had to really go through it. I mean, I think it was on the documentary. All the things they had to go through to satisfy the fan groups and the fan owners that they were the right people to take the club on. Sadly, a lot of fans don't get that in terms of who they choose to be their owners.
No,
I think a lot of people are naturally nervous at American ownership. I am, because if you look at how we might be going off piece a little bit, but my concern, look at the World Cup coming for 2026. You'd like to think that would be a platform to actually improve American football, American soccer, but it's not going to improve American soccer. MLS will still stay the same. They're not going to move away from their franchise system. It's not going to develop and evolve that league. you know, and the USL is not going to change in terms of that's wrong on every single level.
Yeah,
There's so much wrong with American soccer. They they they're not concerned with putting their own house in order. They just want to jump on board in terms of a league that's already what they want in terms of jumping onto that product and then
yeah,
maximizing it. But what we've seen so many times, look at Man United. The Glazers have literally just asset stripped it. Man United
mm,
were a profitable club when they bought them. They didn't have any debt. Now look at
yeah,
them. That's not running a football club. That's what makes people nervous. And I think when the bottom drops out of football in terms of Premier League and money, and it's saturated to a point where it just starts to implode and not increase, the first people who leave will be American owners because they'll
yeah.
want
They
to
will.
next thing, and that's what worries me. You want owners that want to be in it because they want to be part of football, not
Yeah.
in terms of the money they make out of it.
As a North East fan, and Hartlepool United have got a special place in our heart because if it wasn't for them
Hmm,
opening the Victoria Ground, Middlesbrough wouldn't be in existence
absolutely.
in
Yeah.
'86, for example. And we all, want to see them do well. I hope with a watching brief that we watch this guy invest and do, a mini Wrexham to start with, maybe invest in the outreach with the fans and with the community and with the media and the press, and Hartlepool go back on to an upward trajectory. So let's keep an eye on that. It's bad news for Tony Stewart still being at Rotherham. For me, bad news, Todd Bowley. Good news that Raj Singh's left Hartlepool, but I'm a bit nervous about the American ownership. This came out yesterday. This is a disgrace. A St Mirren fan, the 1 minute silence for the Ibrox disaster. Uh, he got justice from his own fans in the end. You see on social media, decided to shout out and be a bellend when it came to the minute silence. Um, and he was in the St Mirren end at Ibrox. And you are respectful of something that many loss of lives so intricately sort of kind of interwoven with Rangers history, to be a bellend and start shouting out and being abusive in that 1 minute silence. Thankfully, he looked like he got justice from his own fans, dragging him out and passed him to the stewards, but not before a few of them took a little swing at him as well. What a bellend. It worries me when people do a minute silence at football because we all know bellend football fans. I think a minute's applause is better, but you can't have a minute's applause for something as sad and tragic as the Ibrox disaster. So it has to be silence, and you have to hope people are respectful. I was disturbed by what an absolute
I,
tosser this guy was.
yeah, I get disturbed. I mean, we and you go to a lot of live football, so we see it firsthand. I get disturbed at how people seem to leave their brain at the door when they walk into the ground. Some of these people might be perfectly fine people and then just lose their head at football. My,
Yeah,
my, my hunch is they're not. I think people who do strange chants at football, I think they're just fucking idiots, to be honest, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
think twice. But I think it's heavily in the news and on social media at the moment, isn't it? Around tragedy chanting and poverty chanting,
yeah,
and I mean, the world of X is quite a poisonous place if you put yourself in it. I mean, there's some serious fucking idiots on that platform. I mean, really brainless assholes, and the poverty chanting's really come to a fore of late. And there's people who are on there who still are posting around. It's just banter. It's not banter. It's never been funny. It was never funny 40 years ago when Liverpool was on its fucking knees.
yeah,
Uh, it's not funny now. It's never been funny. It's not about banter. It's not about having a sense of humor. It's not about, oh, well, you do this. It's like, well, we don't do that. We don't do this. Nobody does it. Liverpool give more back in terms of towards poverty in their city and surrounding area. And to have the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, and Nottingham Forest come and do poverty chanting, Nottingham, seriously, you're on your fucking knees.
yeah,
Arsenal, around Islington and around there, you've got food banks around there. Chelsea, sorry, just entitled pricks, all of you. They do,
yeah,
they do. Their away fans do poverty chanting at every away game no matter what time of year. Some people say, oh, it's just Christmas. They do it to us every game. Their away fans are appalling. They're just
yeah,
poisonous arseholes. They never have any funny chants, any nice chants, any banterous chants. It's all malicious and vicious, and it's
yeah,
not. So, yeah, think what you like, people who are listening to this or listening to us. This is my opinion. Stop doing it because you look like a dick when you do it.
yeah,
And now stadiums are actually focusing on these people and getting them on camera, watching them do it. And that's really good because you should be called out because it's just fucking embarrassing. So do better. Stop acting like a selfish, brainless idiot, and do banterish songs. We all like banterish songs. We don't mind banterish songs, but nothing's funny about poverty and nothing's funny about tragedy chanting. So don't celebrate it and don't advocate it. Just do better. That'll be my message.
Yeah, Boro lost 1-0 at Derby yesterday, and on the way out, Derby fans are singing, "It's a long way to Boro when you shit." You think, fair dues, that's all right, bit of fun. It's
Absolutely.
like, that's fine. We were shit, we didn't win, the beat us 1-0. It's a bit of banter. It wasn't, and this thing, oh, Derby's a shithole, I want to go home and all. It's like, just be better, just be a
Just
little
do
bit more,
better. Yeah.
be more inventive. Anyway, right, so the St. Mirren fan, disgrace. Um, I've got a couple of other things on the bad list as well. Portsmouth just recently got their streaming pricing packages wrong. I don't know if you saw this, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Um, basically, they undercharged their fans for a recent streamed game by, I think it was £7.50 per stream. Then they asked them to voluntarily make up the difference, which is an absolute PR disaster, isn't it? Like, I'm sorry you made a mistake. Actually, good luck. I hope you enjoyed the game. Have it on us. Very least they could do is say, if you want to make a £7.50 donation to the Pompey Community Fund or whatever
Yeah.
to give us something back. But they're asking for money back for the club for an error that the club made. I just think I put it in the bad column. It's just PR disaster, Pompey, isn't it? Really, just do that better. First of all, don't get your pricing wrong. When you do get your pricing wrong, it's not your fans' fault.
Just hold,
It
yeah,
literally is.
yeah. Just hold your hands up and say, "There you go. We dropped on there. Put some humour around it. Fans would love
Yeah,
that. You know,
yeah,
it also shows that you're human and that actually you've dropped the ball on something. But
yeah,
the fact that that's happened is the likes of you and me will then talk about it. So it's
yeah.
yeah, right.
Absolutely. Next one I've got is it's the Conference League. I live in York and York City. I keep an eye on their results. I don't go and watch them. I'm not a fan particularly. I'll keep an eye on them. I like them to do well. They got 100 points last season in the conference and didn't go up. And they didn't go up because they finished second. And there's only one place for promotion in the conference up to League Two. Now, League Two clubs are not going to vote for a second place because it puts them in jeopardy. Why would they? Turkeys and Christmas and all that. But I think in the bad column is the Conference League promotion opportunities. You got to go back to Wrexham and Notts County recently. I think one of them got 106 points and didn't go up. And York got 100 points last season. They played in the playoffs, and we all know the playoffs are what you sign up for. And they played, I can't remember who it was. They were 34 points behind them over the season and lost. Didn't even get to Wembley.
Yeah.
Because on the day they froze, they got, whatever it might be. Can I just say under the bad column is we need to be better at the Conference League promotion, make it fairer, two spaces, two places, just make it more realistic and more achievable.
Completely agree. I've advocated for that for years. It's wrong to make them. They go through a grueling season as well. It's hard yards in that league, and to go through it all knowing you're literally fighting for one spot and then a playoff place.
Down to seventh, by the
Down
way.
to. I was just going to say down to seventh, and the playoffs. They're a hard slog in themselves just to get to the playoffs and get through them. So even if you finish second by a country mile,
Which York did.
which York did, very often it's not the second place club that comes out on top. So
No.
they go through all of that really grueling season and they get nothing for it. And I know people might say, well, where do you draw the line? You look at the Championship League One, League Two. It's only two, then it's a playoff. But it's like at the very least, it has to be two. You
It
can't
has
have
to.
league. Yeah. What we're saying is, what we're trying to say is, you can't really have a league where you only have one all or nothing. It's
Yeah.
almost gave you the finger there, mate. One all or nothing.
Mm.
It's got to be fairer. And first thing you'll hear is League Two. Well, it's not fair on us. Look at the impact on this club. It's like, well, actually, hang on. You're there for a reason. If you're
Yeah.
second bottom in League Two, it's because you're
You
really
shit.
going through it. You're crap. Now, I know there's other things that go on there, and I know that going out of the league into conference status could have a knock-on effect outside of all of that. But my point would be, surely if you knew you were going to be part of that, and you knew you could go down, that might incentivize you to actually do better in the first place. Because if you know that you're comfortably second bottom and you're not going to go down, you can't tell me that you haven't got that. So if you're close to being the bottom club, you're going to have more incentive to play. But say you're like, I don't know, 10 points clear of last place, are you really going to play harder? You're not, are you? Whereas if
No.
you go down, you absolutely will, won't you?
The other thing, though, I don't think there's that much difference these days between the standard in the conference and the
There
League
isn't.
Two. And I also think the conference isn't now part time; they're all professional, full time.
Yeah,
So I think, yeah, I just think anyway. Under the bad column is the promotion prospect of a team, and it wasn't because it was York City. It raised it because
in general,
I was more aware of it. Really, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. I've been saying it for years, and I know there's lots of connotations linked to it, but on a base level, I don't think it's right that any league you just have literally
No,
winner takes all, because there's too much riding on it, isn't there? So
yeah,
yeah, I agree
okay.
with
I've got four more things in the bad column before we get to the
the
ugly
ugly.
column,
Yeah,
right? I'm going to go through these four things
yeah,
quickly and do
quickly.
all
Yeah,
four before Boris Christmas and New Year form again. God, we shit at Christmas, aren't we?
always
We come down quicker than the decorations, don't we? Right. That's all I'll say.
yeah.
I beat the four games from the 20th of December to the first of January, and haven't seen a score a goal. We've got 1 point out of 12. Boris form over Christmas in the bad column. Could be in the ugly column, to be fair. Mo Salah's entitled rant. I'll come back to that in a minute. Mo Salah, you're not entitled to a place in the team just because of who you've been and what you've done. Football is about form. Football is about current form. Football's about impact. And just because you're Mo Salah doesn't mean you don't deserve to be dropped when you're playing shit. That's all I'm going to say on the Mo Salah rant. It really got under my skin with the tone of it, really. And just read the room, or read the room. Your fans love you. They adore you. There's murals to you. You're an absolute living legend in Egypt, but you're not entitled to a place on the pitch just because of that. You play because you're playing well, and you're not undroppable. That's my view on Mo Salah. I'll come back to that in a second. Liverpool signing anyone and everyone in the summer for loads of dosh and becoming worse. That I put in the bad column. Bad for Liverpool, great for fun, great to watch.
Oh,
We need this, we need that. Oh, how much? Oh, 200 million now, 150 million, 125 million. Oh, we'll have them, we'll have them. They bought Ekatike and Isaac, didn't need both. They bought
just
Florian Wirtz.
yeah.
Massive fan of Florian Wirtz, I am, by the way. He's done nothing. Then we'll have two fullbacks, Frimpong and Kirkes. We'll spend best part of £500 million, and we're actually worse than we were last season. So I put it in the bad column for Liverpool. I should put it in the fun column for everybody else, because it's great to see that you
It is.
can't just pick players just based on money and availability. Why did they need Ekatike and Isaac? They didn't.
It didn't. It's bad for them. I agree. Funny in the state of their fans literally losing their shit. It's like, oh
Oh,
my god, you don't
great
even
fun.
know you absolutely don't even know you're born. If you had the season that Everton usually have or other clubs have, most of those fans would walk. They wouldn't. They just wouldn't be there. It's like you really have not a clue. And then you've got local news giving them all kinds of you know airtime to it. It's like, Jesus Christ, they've lost a few games. Big deal.
Yeah. Still
Just let
fourth.
them get on with it. It's like they've come out of it now. They seem to be doing okay. I mean, they're not great, but they're doing all
Yeah.
right. They're not just free falling anymore. And it's like, oh, good God, get over it. They haven't, it's like, loads of people whining, oh my God, what a catastrophe. We need to be up there. It's like, well, I'm sure it'll come good for the next season. Having said that, I mean, sometimes it can take a while to bed in. I'm not so sure it will suddenly click next season. It'll all become this all singing, all
No.
dancing, all covering. They're crying out for defensive reinforcements. They'll try and
Yeah.
get Gay summer. Not sure they'll get him. I think he might be Madrid bound or
Yeah.
Barca bound, which is sad for us because I think he's better than going there. But every player wants
Yeah.
to play, don't they?
True.
But they're
Yeah.
still defensively, they're still very frail, I think, and you can have all the forward line in the world, all the midfield prowess, but if you're struggling at the back, you're always going to be struggling at the back, aren't you?
Yeah. Salah rant, what's your thoughts on that? Was that right?
Immature. No, it wasn't right. Of course, it wasn't right. It just acted like a petulant, spoiled child. I mean, again, they went round here interviewing people, and so many fans were like, "Yeah, I agree with them." It's like, Jesus,
Jesus Christ.
unbelievable. I mean, yeah, just ridiculous. Oh yeah, you should be playing. Well, no. And to be honest, I agree with Slot on that. Do you know what? Slot might be wrong in terms of there might be a bit of clash going on somewhere. People might have the argument that he should be playing. And to be honest, there was times where Liverpool weren't playing well, where you think it's a bit odd that he hasn't been brought on. He's not been playing so terribly that he shouldn't play. But then, if you're Mo Salah, why act like that? He only ever comes out into the, what's it called, the mixed zone, where the press or whatever it was, if he has something to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, just do better. It's not. This is where football's gone horribly wrong. It's like, stop being a diva. You're getting paid all this money. You're loved by the fans. You're idolised. Just get your head down, knuckle down, and if you're having a bit of a fallout with the manager, sort it out with the manager.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Just sort it out with the manager, and you'll be and move on from it. Clear the air. If you want to leave, just say you want to leave. If you don't, just clear the air, sort it out amongst yourselves. You'll be back in the team. And do you know what? A couple of weeks later, he wasn't he? So
yeah,
he obviously cleared the air. But you just don't need to air your dirt in public, do you? Just do it behind the scenes and be professional.
You don't. I'm a massive fan of a sports documentary. I've watched the Mo Salah documentary on the BBC iPlayer. It was fine. It was okay. It was quite interesting, his background, where he came from, and the energy he's put into being a success. So just be a better human being than a petulant little spoilt brat when it comes to your position. That's all I'd say on that one. Right, okay.
Stop whining. Just get on with your job.
We're getting on to the ugly. This is the column. We've got the good we've done, separate podcasts. We've done the bad so far in half this podcast. We're now getting on to the ugly. Some of this we've covered before, and I'm going to go through some of it quite quickly. But I just want to get, it's like our bit of a ranty finish to this particular podcast, okay? The first thing I've got is, going back to this whole thing, the Alexander Isak transfer saga in the summer. Oh my God. No one came out of it well. By the way, no one else outside of Newcastle and Liverpool gave a shit. But my God, did that just drag on and become... We all knew he was going to sign for Liverpool. We all knew it was going to be about 130 million. We all knew that then Newcastle would go and sign Visser. We all knew that, when they signed Ekitike, they were still going to go for Isak because they'd already put the hat into the ring and Isak had already thrown his toys out in Newcastle. The whole saga, I never want to see a transfer saga like that again, but I guarantee we'll see one in January and we'll see another one in the summer with someone. And it was just unedifying, the whole thing. And you know what? It just gives the people like TalkSport and the media something shite to talk about every single bloody day. We all knew he was going to sign. Just sign and get on with it.
Yes, just cut the shit. Once you know the player doesn't want to go, even though he's spat his dummy and he's being a spoilt brat, just accept it. Just agree a fee and get on and do it. Because once the players come out and done that, you don't want them playing for you anyway. And I know they'll come out with all the rubbish of, well, he's our biggest player, we don't want to lose him. As soon as a player's doing that, you don't want him playing for you. As a fan, I'd never want to see that ever from a player.
He's the difference. Fans don't want it, but the owners have seen him as an asset, don't they? And it's like, how much can we get for our asset if we are going to get the asset? Fans just go, you're never wearing the shirt again, and you can kiss the badge all you want, but we never want you in the play. And that's what football's about. Football's for fans. Newcastle fans despise Alexander Isak because of how he handled himself. Now, that's sad because he scored a lot of goals for them. If he'd left in a more manageable way, okay, he wouldn't have been very well liked, but he's absolutely hated, isn't he? I don't think they've been back to, have they been? No, they went back to St James's, but he didn't play, did he? I don't think.
They won 3-2, didn't they?
Yeah, last minute. Yeah, I've got a few things under ugly. I want to go through. So ugly. I've got the reign of Russell Martin at Rangers, the reign of Ruben Sellers at Sheffield United, and the end of the reign of he who shall not be named at Middlesbrough. Not the reign of him, but the end of the reign of him who shall not be named at Middlesbrough. Commonly known as Ratman by quite a few Boro fans, or Snake Boy. Those three managerial situations all occurred quite within, a framework of each other. Russell Martin, absolute clown. He's been linked with a job in the MLS. He's absolutely made for the MLS. There is no pressure. There's no promotion or relegation. It's a shit league for a manager who's got one way of playing. Ruben Selles, what you doing appointing him to Sheffield United? We've covered this before, and all I'll say is the man who shall not be named. The most unedifying end to a managerial career. And under ugly, I've also got in there Wolves 3 points on the 2nd of January, 3 points, and you get exactly what you deserve. So all of that is about shit managerial appointments, shit managerial performances, and or somebody being just a complete and utter snake.
Well, yeah, I mean, Russell Martin, just a poor manager, full stop. Ruben Selles should never have been anywhere. We've said it before in all the pods, should never have been near the Sheffield United job. We said, give it 5, 6 games, he'll be gone. Russell Martin, shocking, just a waste of time. He will be perfect for MLS because it's just a circus league, so you can do what you like there. The reward failure. So, and Rob Edwards, yeah, I mean, I don't wish it on the Wolves fans. I feel sorry for Wolves fans and how their club's been run and utterly destroyed by the two clowns that are in charge. I'll, very quickly say my piece again on this one. I think what annoyed me about Rob Edwards is he said, I can't turn it down. These jobs don't come up very often. It's like, hang on, Rob, hang on. You've been a football manager for less than 4 years. Less than 4 years. So if you see yourself as being a long-term football manager and you want to grow and get better in the game, then that job will absolutely come up again in the future. Wolves change manager something like every 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, Nuno was only there, 3 years?
Yeah.
So, if you back yourself and you think you're talented and you do a good job somewhere else and put yourself in the shop window, that job will come round. Yeah. And sure to God, you would want to take that job under much better circumstances, because what he's probably frustrated at is, for all we know, he might be doing great things in the background there. We don't know. He might be.
He won't be.
No, I know. But just say, for example, he is. Because a lot of coaches do lots of good things that you don't see.
Yeah.
But you'll never see it because they're in such dire straits. And are you telling me that he's going to be in a really good place when they go down to kick on in the Championship?
No.
They won't be. And I think he's under real pressure to keep his job as it stands. I really do.
I am not. I've moved on from him, but it's the second result.
I'm just talking about the circumstances in general. I don't care that he's not Boro manager anymore. I'm actually talking about what leads you to do that. I know it's very late. I know it's his hometown club, but he must know he's got a very limited window there. And when it all goes terribly wrong at some point, or he's kicked out, which he will be, it's a case of when, not if. And it might be a year from now. You might have more than we think, but it will happen. And what annoys me is, if you've got faith in yourself and you back yourself, A, you should be loyal to what you've just taken on, which you have done in Middlesbrough, be loyal to that project. And then B, be like, well, no, it's no problem. I back myself that at some point in down the line, I'll get that job. And if I don't, I don't.
That's the only airtime I want to give him, except to say they play West Ham this weekend at home. They lose to West Ham at home. I'm absolutely hoping that my BBC and Sky Sports app pops up with Rob Edwards has been dismissed by Wolves. That'll make me a happy man at the start of January 2024. 26, where am I going? 2 seconds. So the next thing, it's the whole World Cup thing. I don't want to go over it in old ground. We've talked about it a lot. I just want to put it in the ugly column just to make sure people know how ugly we think the whole World Cup debacle has been. Trump's Peace Prize, embarrassing. Infantino's behaviour, disgusting. The genuine and transparent disdain for fans. World Cup ticket pricing, the fixed draw. And link it to the Club World Cup, which is exactly the same version of the whole treating fans with a complete lack of respect and creating tournaments just for the sake of it and prizes for the sake of it. I don't want to go into old ground. I just want to put it in the ugly column to say that I'm not looking forward to the World Cup. I'm hopeful that eventually I'll be drawn into it, when it starts to become a tournament. But I'm also hoping it's played in empty stadiums, which I know it won't be, but, wouldn't it be great? So the whole World Cup situation, shite. FIFA World Club Cup, shite. just wrong on every level. Quick
Agree.
response. Yeah, is that it?
Agree. Very ugly. And yeah, it again, just do better. And FIFA, you could have done a lot better. And it's not going to end well. And all this nonsense of they could have sold all the tickets 25 times over. Bullshit.
Who to?
Yeah. AI and bots, mate. That's all I'll say on that one. So
Okay, let's
what?
move on.
Yeah,
Ticket pricing, away ticket pricing, the Championship. We used to have 20 is plenty in the Premier League. I don't know if it's still there. Coventry and Sheffield Wednesday are regular culprits of charging over £45 for adult for an away ticket. I'm not being funny. 25, £45 to go to Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. Pooh. To watch Sheffield Wednesday is one of the two teams competing, by the way. And secondly, Coventry, you're just taking the piss out of Birmingham, you're taking the piss out of Leicester and teams like that by charging that. And Middlesbrough going to Coventry in February, and I'm expecting that to be a £45 game. Um,
just
where do you
wrong.
get where do you get off? Where do you get off charging that?
Just wrong. And it's a slippery slope, isn't it? And some of the Championship clubs are charging too much now in terms of their ticketing. I mean, Middlesbrough on. I think they're better with their away tickets to away teams, but even ticketing in general for home match tickets or for
Mm-hmm.
tickets, Middlesbrough are one of the most expensive, and
Yeah,
they really struggle to keep the pricing as it is. But it just shows the pressure points of football and why it's put on fans, which is such
yeah,
a sad thing to see. Premier League's even worse. The Premier League and the Premier League teams have no excuse. They just shouldn't be doing it because they can afford not to, but they do it
yeah.
anyway. Which is, again, we've gone over ticketing, and it's probably one for another pod at another time. But yeah, I completely agree. There's no place for a £45 ticket away from home. There's no place for a home match ticket in the Premier League or otherwise for 60, 70, 80 quid.
No.
Just wrong, wrong.
Okay. Very, very briefly, because I'm conscious of time, I've got five or six things. I'm going to go through all five or six, and then I can get your response in general to. So they're not necessarily connected. Championship refereeing standards this season are appalling. And more importantly, the uselessness of the linesmen or lineswomen is just as bad. So I've watched intently, very closely this season, when a decision's about to be made for a throw in. And I've seen lines people, let's give them the proper title, I don't know what they are, second officials or whatever these days, who they've got the flag and they hold the flag close to the chest. They're looking for the ref to point. When the ref points, they'll confidently point the same way the referees point. You've got one job, by the way. So, well, two jobs. Give the offside and give the correct decision. But also, they never get involved in really bad, nasty fouls and tackles down right in front of them. They just abdicate responsibility. So your linos are crap, but your championship referees are absolutely appalling. So I'll say that. However, I don't want VAR. I don't want VAR in the championship because VAR is killing football. We've
It's
covered it many times. It's
one,
killing football, mate.
one of the that's one of the ugliest things on the list. VAR is destroying football,
Yeah,
and as you know, it's one of the joys I love of going to see Middlesbrough and watching Championship games because VAR is ruining it. At Everton now, we never get any decisions that go our way. They're all
yeah,
against. It's the thing that's killing it as well, mate, is the inconsistency. And do you know what? All the so-called Big Six teams, they'll all have their examples of where they think they've been wrong done. And yeah, they probably have. But if you stack them up against the teams that aren't the Big Six, it's
yeah.
absolutely nailed on. The
It's
most,
incredulous, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's almost it's getting blatantly obvious now that they will get decisions that then the same thing happens or something similar will happen in the same game and the other team won't get it.
yeah,
Or you can see it happen one week where it's given, and the next week it happens the same again, and it's not. It's just, and then they'll come out with some feeble excuse. It's like there was a panel the other day voted 3-2, apparently, an independent panel that we should have had a penalty against Arsenal. Um,
yeah. Didn't get it though.
it shouldn't get to the point where you're having a panel discussing it. Just do better. It could be deemed as soft. I don't really want to see penalties given for that anyway. But my point is always just be consistent. the rules. I think the rules around penalties and everything need to be given greater clarity. But VAR in general is just the
Yeah.
referee is just, and every time they go up their monitor, it just makes your heart sink because they're just going to overturn what they've done. It's awful.
It's already happened once where it didn't this season. They all celebrated in the Sky Studio apparently. Now, the other thing I'd say about Championship referees, going back to them, is they're the next ones coming through the rung to the Premier League. And the ones who drop down and occasionally referee a big game in the Championship have lost the ability to make a decision on the field because they absolutely brick themselves to make a decision in game. So they're worse than Championship referees who were shit as a Premier League referee dropping down because they're now so used to being second guessed by VAR, they won't make any decisions and then realising VAR won't get them out of jail. I just hate the standard referee in the Championship so far. And if you're listening from League One and League Two, I guarantee that the standard referee in League One, League Two is even worse. Let's move on, just conscious of time. I'm going to finish with two players and a former player. Alejandro Garnacho is the Ronaldo that you buy from Temu. What an entitled prick he is. He just thinks he's miles better than he is, and he's got nothing to back it up. He sulked petulantly. He's gone to Chelsea when he was dragged off a few times at half time. He sulked again. He thinks he's better than he should be playing 90 minutes, etc. Has he done anything to anyone to justify a starting position in a top five, top six club in England? I don't think he has. I think he's bang average. You think he's a bit better than I think he is. He's literally Ronaldo from Temu or Wish. He's absolutely shit.
What frustrates me about him is I remember that game against Everton where he scored that world-ever goal, which was just a peach, by the way. But then he did precisely nothing for the rest of the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a player in there that could be a really good player. What frustrates me is he's just got this really bad attitude. He's a bad egg, and it's mentality. It's just having the right values, and for me, it just stinks. I mean,
he'll never make it. He'll never make it as a top player because his head's not right.
No, he won't. He won't do it at Chelsea either. He's got a lot to do to turn it around where people start to have respect for him because sadly there is a player there, but he's not prepared to put the work in to be that player.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I agree. Very frustrating. Very frustrating.
I'll put him under ugly because of various reasons, and he's got a face I'd like to punch occasionally. To be fair, that's another thing. That's a separate issue.
I just don't see it, do you? In general, that's why.
Look at him sulking, moaning.
He's like, you're on thousands a week. You're in a privileged position. Do better.
Yeah. Next one. Raheem Sterling sitting on 300 grand a week and seemingly happy not to be playing football. What an absolute waste that is. I've put that under ugly. I don't know the circumstances. I don't know whether he wants to go, whether he's happy, sat on the money, whether he's not being interested. Raheem Sterling would do a job for a Crystal Palace. He'd do a job for a Bournemouth or something like that. Maybe not. Bournemouth play too fast-flowing football for him these days, I suspect. But he's not shit, is he, Raheem Sterling? Or he might be now, but he's 300 grand a week and no one's coming in for him. Why? Why are they not coming in for him? Too much wages, trouble, happy, lost his mojo. What's the score with Raheem Sterling? 'Cause it bugs me immensely.
That's a good one. I don't know. I don't think it's the money. I think, from what I've heard, I think it's because Chelsea want to sell him rather than loan him out because they want him off the wage bill, which might not be his fault. So he might be, for all we know, he actually might want to go and play, and Chelsea don't want to sanction a loan because they'd rather sell him. And maybe it's because of the wages he's on and the clubs that are coming in, they don't really deem it worth it in terms of how much they're putting towards his wage. Honestly, don't know. Do you know what? He's of that age now. I mean, he's still ridiculously young, Raheem Sterling. He could still carry on for ages, but do you know what? You do get that feeling of a player that possibly has lost his mojo, definitely lost his way when he went to Chelsea and didn't work out from on loan at Arsenal. Maybe he has lost his way. Is he the next Dele Alli in that respect? I mean, Dele Alli had a lot of other problems, a lot of other issues, but Dele Alli, had a window where he was exceptional, wasn't he? And then he's absolutely struggled everywhere since to find a home, and there's a lot of different circumstances. I get that, and I know that Sterling probably wants to stay in England because when he was in the World Cup squad and he got burgled and there was a lot of stuff going on. There's a security issue for him and all that kind of thing. I think Raheem Sterling would do really well if he went and played for someone in Germany or went and played for somebody in Serie A or whatever. But whether he's got the ambition to do that or whatever. Because I I personally wouldn't put him in the Dele Alli category. I think he was really successful consistently over a long period of time for City and was one of their main players. Do you know what? He was good at Liverpool for the 2 years or so that he broke through there before he wanted to
Yeah.
leave. He's openly said he probably wouldn't have left there if Jurgen Klopp had come a season earlier. I like him. I think he's a really good player. You don't hear from him. You never hear him say anything. So maybe that's a good thing, and maybe he's just not rocking the boat. It's not. I'd like to see him playing somewhere because I think he's young enough and talented enough that he'd do a really good job somewhere. Maybe he's for
Yeah.
him. Maybe he's not. Maybe he might still have a fire in his belly. He might not. Once you get to a point where you've won everything and if a club are making he doesn't want to, they don't want to loan him out again, or they want someone to buy him, he might be thinking, well, I'm happy, I'm living where I'm from,
Yeah.
got a good family, I'm settled, don't have any money worries, I'm quite content, I'm not literally chewing my hand off to go and play somewhere. Or
That was my only reference point to Dele Alli, not the longevity. Dele Alli, has lost his fire, lost his
I think in the game.
He is.
I think he'll retire very shortly. I don't think he's ever going to recover that at all, ever.
No.
Sterling, I think he could still. I think if he suddenly got the right move and was an integral part of something, I think you'd suddenly see a really good player again. It's whether maybe he just doesn't fancy going to a club where nothing's going to happen for him. I don't know. Perhaps maybe he's a part of him, and I don't know this. I'm just guessing. Wants to be part of something where he's challenging for something, but who's going to come in for him and do that?
No, he might well have that ship might have sailed. I want to finish, and I'm very conscious of time. This will be our longest pod, by the way. I think, but that's fine because it's full of bad and ugly, and hopefully people are listening to it and enjoying it. I want to finish with a former player, John Terry. John Terry is forever moaning about a lack of managerial opportunities. No one wants to employ me. I don't get a chance, and all that kind of thing. He's never shut up about it for 2 or 3 years since he was assistant manager at Villa. And yet, this bellend posted a video message from the golf course, distancing himself from any interest that Oxford United might have had in him, even if they did or didn't have any interest in him. For all those saying that Oxford United are interested in me as John Terry, just to put it out there, I'm not interested. What a bellend, what a prick. You want an opportunity, you bemoan the fact that there aren't opportunities, and then a team in the Championship, which is where your starting point should be, no higher, might be interested in you. I don't know if they were even interested in you, and you post a video from the golf course saying, yeah, not for me. You can't have it both ways, John Terry. Oxford United would be a brilliant place for you to start your solo managerial career, and just being a bellend by distancing yourself from a video on the golf course makes you my prick of the year so far in 2026.
Oh, it's good to hear you have a rant instead of me for a change, mate.
That's all right.
I have no interest in John Terry whatsoever. He was a great player, but is moaning about it. It's like if you were going to be a manager, you'd have done it by now. You can't just sit around for 3-4 years not doing it. You just don't. If you want to be a manager and you want to work hard and be a good one, you'd start low in the Championship and just go in somewhere and get stuck in and enjoy it. I don't think he's Championship ready. I think he'd be out of his depth there personally. So, John, if you want to be a manager, you were a great player. A lot of respect for you there. If you want to be a manager, go and be a manager somewhere. Just get off your ass and do it. Stop moaning about it, or after this, a certain position. You can't be like that. You can't be selective. You either want to be it, do it, or not. Don't be the likes of fucking Gerrard and all them ones. It's like, just be humble. Go and get a good job somewhere. You'd probably love it. You'd learn a thing or two down in League One, League Two, and see you can actually cut the mustard and be a good manager and earn your stripes. Sadly, not many do these days, do they? It's once they become flavour of the month, even the people you never heard of suddenly go into a job and then they lose it 6 months later. You never hear from them again. So
yeah,
just learn your trade.
My problem with John Terry is, not the fact that he's distanced himself from the job, the fact that he's moaned and moaned and moaned about no opportunities, and then an ideal opportunity, as far as I can see, would be Oxford. He wouldn't even have to move, would he, to get to Oxford every day?
No.
Would be a perfect for him, but nonetheless. Anyway, I just want to leave with my bell end of the year 2026 nomination so far
Don't
is
think you anyway.
John Terry. You
Yeah,
what? Sorry, mate.
I don't think you'd get that job anyway.
No, I mean he distanced himself without even being nominated for it. You know what I mean? That again goes into the Bell End of the Year award for me. So that has been episode 29, the bad and ugly part of our review 2025. Apologies for the length of the podcast. However, what I would say to you is it's a 12-month period. We try to cover a lot of stuff. What we're going to talk about next time is, and this will go out on the Monday the 12th, which is at the end of the long first weekend of round 3 of the FA Cup. What's wrong with the FA Cup in 2026? And believe me, we've got plenty to get stuck in on that one as well. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share on all your favourite platforms: YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, Apple Play, Spotify, etc. We love your support. We love your contributions. We love your comments. Be part of the LinkedIn community. We've got a LinkedIn group with over 210 members so far and continuing to grow. If you're a football fan, hope you like what we're talking about. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. Really enjoying doing them. Dom, been an absolute pleasure again. And we'll see you for the What's Wrong with the FA Cup in 2026 podcast on the next episode.
Yeah, I echo everything you say there, mate. So thanks for everyone for your support. Please do get involved and send us your comments and your questions and any recommendations for things you want us to talk about. We've got big things planned for the pod in 2026, so watch this space. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Looking forward to it, mate.
Cheers, mate. See you soon.
See you later. Bye.